Ah, 8:20 p.m., your favorite time of day. Could you simply not resist giving me the correct time again? After all, I know how much you enjoy setting the time correctly. Okay, now I'm curious how accurate 8:20 is. Let's use another slider to find out. How accurate is 8:20? Accurate. You know, can I say, regardless of the accuracy of the clock, I'm having great time adjusting these settings. I feel like I'm learning more about you and how you like things to be set. It's good to collect data. Okay, I'm getting creepy. I wish we had more sliders, but we've gone through all the sliders I have. Perhaps I invent some sliders to gather some new data on you. Shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, let me whip up a couple of new ones. Should be ready next time you boot up the game. Okay, we are rebooting this game, I guess. Seconds. Gonna have to do that now. Why does it want me to do? Oh, I guess this is one of the sliders, right? It's like the slider game that we're doing right now. Please adjust the slider until the dog and cat are friends. They're very friendly now. Please adjust the slider until the number 9. Wait, what? Oh god. Oh, wait. That is technically a number 9, isn't it, though? What the fuck is this? Is there an actual number 9? There is a number 9. Which number 9 do we go for? Oh, there's multiple 9s. Adjust the slider until you stop adjusting the slider. Okay, we've adjusted the slider. Which of the 2 made-up words below is most appealing to you? What the fuck is that? Boingo? I'm terrible at pronouncing words anyway, so it's a pretty bad start. And Scrumtush. That one's easier to say, so we're gonna go with that one. Please don't adjust the slider. Do you know what the time is right now? Yes. Is the time that is right now the correct time? What is the time anyway? No. Is there anything about yourself you haven't told me? Yes? Help. Yes? Will you come back to visit me? Yes? Okay. Okay, we're in the game. That was a turn. I was a tin.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427
Press J for 62 milliseconds. That's an amount of time.
And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
So can we not go back to the other new content at this point? Or are we just like stuck at Stanley Parable 2?
Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation.
It's a good question.
Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, we're gonna get the bucket. I've missed the bucket.
The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together.
Oh, I missed the bucket.
Fine with him.
I need my own bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Warehouse plan. Reduce one plank to allow ease of access past fence. Construct bridge to allow collection of shiny float. Retrieve Chris's remains from the warehouse floor? What? Construct new structurally sound bridge. We need more planks. That doesn't seem great. That seems bad, in fact. Why wouldn't they just tell us something will happen? This investigation, this room, they feel pointless, to be honest. Weird spinning figurines. Do we need contracts for them? NDA, potential liability. Can we sell them, obviously? How many are there? Why floating? Magnets? Our quarterly success. Magic dreams.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered
Wonder
the
if you can
possibility of
change
facing
anything
his
here.
boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the
No,
voice
we
of
keep
the
going.
bucket
We keep
had
going.
been coming from.
Oh,
The
oh,
real
fucking
bucket
hell!
was inside of him.
Oh God,
all
I've
along.
fallen through the floor.
It was incredibly
Sorry,
painful.
Mindy.
Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Okay, this is where.
This is the story
This is like the
of
same,
a woman
okay.
named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had
No bucket. Where did I?
Of
Oh,
course.
I guess because I lost it.
Ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything
Hello.
is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize.
Only he'd taken his bucket with him.
How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes. she
Okay,
would.
so we don't go down these stairs anymore because it just seems
And she
to
backflipped
basically
on
be
the way to work.
backflip this time. Okay, she didn't backflip last time. That is a bit of a change.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Can I have one of these balloons? How do I get over there? Yeah, we'll grab the
A
bucket.
good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Let's go, Stanley, with your bucket. Okay, we go up this time.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was
Go
it the
through the
bucket
door.
knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Bucket
The elevator
buddies.
raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
What happens if we turn back?
The passageway had the word escape written on it. The truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still
What
had
happens
every
if...
opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Does this do the same
At
thing
this
as...
point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
In we go, down to death. What does this place do when it's just like randomly crushing things for no real apparent reason though?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws.
Well, my ability to cross my legs is pretty terrible.
Instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as
Okay.
it was crushed violently to death.
Can we go anywhere else?
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent...
Back in the museum.
It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a
Back in the
glorious
Bucket
bucket to
Museum.
behold. Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Oh, I get the sweet music again. While we know that the bucket predates the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket has already been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity worthy of its treasures. Can I stop jamming to it? No.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket. But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
Something in my eye.
Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game.
Okay, we reset the game. We
Don't
reset the
give him
game.
another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We
begin the game again. Wonder if anything has changed now.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply... the embrace of an old friend.
What happens if we leave the bucket next time?
The test of time. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered.
Let's go this way.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, Stanley didn't know. I want to go.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the
Oh,
cargo
let me go
lift.
down here.
Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to
Wonder.
the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Danger everywhere. Yeah, we're going in there. Danger everywhere.
It should have alarmed
Definitely
us
going
just
in
because
somewhere that
buckets
says
can't
danger
fly. But
everywhere.
Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Until he didn't. He went to this place called Danger Everywhere.
No,
Like me
stop.
in a factory.
Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says,
No buckets
past
past this point.
Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless...
Oh
what if the
no,
problem is
not
that
the
you actually
bucket.
don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket. I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game. if
Okay,
not addressed
okay.
quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket.
Okay. Didn't realise there was that much in the game based on that, but okay. Well, I don't want to go in there. I want to go through the no buckets. I guess fine. Fine, I'll go there. Is this a bucket?
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay.
Right.
let's begin.
Alright, okay. Let's go. Is it a bucket?
Item 1. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Okay. Okay. Baited?
Item 2. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
For fuck's sake. Alright. Next one.
Item 3. Is this
Surely this is a bucket.
correct?
Wow.
This is a bucket.
We got one. We got a bucket, correct.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
That's a tractor. Yes.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
There's another
Is this
tractor.
a bucket?
Yes. Yes, it is a bucket.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Okay.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
No.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
What? How's it both?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Yes, it's a bucket.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
What? Yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game.
No, is this how I lose the bucket?
Here we go.
No. No. No, the
What
bucket.
happened? Is everything gone?
Wait, the bucket's everything.
Wait,
Wait, the bucket is everything. Everything is a
single thing
bucket.
is a bucket.
Oh,
God, I had no idea. How
oh
could...
my god.
Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley,
Everything's a
you're
bucket.
still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay?
Yes.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Okay, okay. It's all buckets. It's all buckets.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Grab the bucket again.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those
A
things.
better man and a better
Stanley clutched the
co-worker.
bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I wonder what happens if I stand here for a minute. No, no. It says property of Stanley. It's my bucket. That's true, actually. I've not seen any Stanley collectibles for a while. Where are all the Stanley collectibles?
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I can open this door now. I couldn't last time. Up. We're going up. We always go down. We're going up. Up, up and away. Do, 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 do. Yep. Do, do, going on for a while, I'll give it that. My neck's getting tired from bobbing. How long until we're at the top? Nah, we are. You just need to believe. It's vibrating more. I think. Ah, there we go. Wait, are we just where we were? Okay, we're not gonna touch it. We're just not gonna touch it. Just gonna leave it alone. I'm pretty sure that just stops it back where it was. I'm pretty... Surely it has to end at some point. Surely. I can answer a message quickly. Okay. I don't think this is taking us anywhere. That feels like a rude troll, though. So obnoxious, though. It's so obnoxious. I don't think it does anything. I think I'm just in a loop.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes.
Is anything else
this is certainly
open?
the most logical explanation.
Nope, that's unopened, if anything. Unopened. Must be another way from here, right? Fully. Can you not press that up? But you can go back up. That's strange.
Wait,
Why can you go back
Stanley
up?
said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again.
Okay.
Bucket said nothing.
Wasn't expecting that, but I guess when are you expecting anything from this game?
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Okay, okay. There was literally nothing there but smashing the number 3.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
Oh, I guess it's run out of battery.
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me.
Yeah, I didn't plug it back in.
Have been through so
I'm
much
smart.
together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said,
I'll give it a few minutes. Oh, this way. I'm gonna hit the number 3 again. See if the bucket responds this
"Here we
time.
go," said
Surely.
Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears, and the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Oh, the bucket rejected him. Oh, that's really sad. Alright. We'll only do a quick playthrough tonight, I think. We will head off after that.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be? Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped,
Did he?
monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Fuck's sake. Just want to go back to working. Right. A bit too far that way. Oh yeah. I'll do.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world.
Yo.
At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
What are you doing?
But here was the proof.
Harry?
The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place.
I'm not allowed to play
As
video
the
games.
cold reality of his past began to sink in. Stanley decided that
banned.
this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life.
No.
For he and the
I don't let
bucket
my
would
hands back.
dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Bruce, can I... Are you gonna ignore me? Okay, that's rude. That's rude. I pet you and everything. Can you just ignore me? I see how it is. Toxic. Toxic dog. What?
When at last they came to the source of the room's power, Stanley and the bucket knew it was their obligation to put an end to this.
I'm not allowed. Will I not be allowed to leave with the bucket again, though?
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and...
Oh no.
What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped?
I have to figure out how to
Stanley and the
restart
bucket
this
not
game
about
from
to
the
be
start
freed?
again, because, like, I definitely missed
Unbearable
a lot
silence
of
filled the room,
new
lingering in
content.
uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms.
God, I dropped my
Not
vape.
while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally
Happiness
in
in the
darkness
bucket.
isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
No, poor Stanley. Right, I will end the stream